to make 30-minute jambalaya. Feed a family of 4 on less than $15.
Welcome to my kitchen. I'd like to share with you my jambalaya recipe that I created. This is a quick 30-minute recipe that you can use on a weeknight with your kids. This is a family favorite and something that I developed as a full-time working mom to keep me able to cook for my family on weeknights. For our vegetables, we have the trio of onion, celery, and garlic. This is the base of any good Cajun meal. So we're going to go ahead and get started with dicing and cutting these up. I do use the jarred minced garlic just to save time. Take off the 2 ends. I like to cut these pretty small so that they do not interfere too much with the texture of the meal. Jambalaya sometimes takes a long time to prepare, but with this quick 30-minute recipe, you can have it done easily on a weeknight. My kids think that they don't like onions. What they don't know is that they're in almost every single recipe that they eat. They're just hidden in there, and they have no idea. The key is you've got to chop them so small that they don't even know that they're in there. The nice thing is this blends in really well with the rice, and they don't even notice that they're in there. But it adds a lot of really, really good flavor. We've already got our vegetables prepped and ready to go. The next thing is we need to go ahead and get our oil warmed up in our skillet. You're gonna need a good sized deep skillet for this recipe because the beauty of it is it's all done in one pan, which makes for nice easy cleanup on those weeknight meals. So I have it set on medium heat. We're gonna go ahead and just put a couple tablespoons of olive oil, and we will begin to saute our vegetables in there. It's time for us to go ahead and add our vegetables to our heated up oil. Get our celery and our onions in there, sweating away. You want to make sure that it's not too hot so that your vegetables don't burn. And also, garlic burns very easily. So you want to make sure that it's not too hot so that your garlic doesn't burn, because then you'll have to start all over. And that does not make for a good weeknight dinner. Go ahead and start getting those all covered in the oil. I'm going to turn down my heat just a notch. Now, while that's all sweating and cooking, it's time for us to get our meat cut up. So we're going to do a chicken breast and about a pound of kielbasa sausage. The key to making this recipe flavorful is the sausage. So you can put in shrimp, you can put in chicken, you can put whatever kind of meat combination, but I've found that if you don't have the sausage, it loses a lot of the flavor. So we're just going to go ahead and cube up the chicken into bite-sized pieces. We're going to add this to our vegetables. We want to get this started cooking. The kielbasa sausage is already all cooked, so we're going to put that in last. The last part of that is just rendering the fat out of the kielbasa sausage, and that's where all the good flavor is going to come from. Go ahead and add that to our vegetables. They're already starting to get nice and soft. I had turned down the heat so they wouldn't splatter too much, but now I'm going to have to turn it back up a little bit since the chicken has been added. All right, next we're going to go ahead and get our kielbasa sausage cut up into bite-sized pieces. It doesn't really matter for this recipe if the chicken is cooked all the way through, because it's going to get to simmer in some chicken stock. So the main thing is for this one is that we render out a good amount of the fat from the kielbasa sausage. I'm going to go ahead and add that, and then I'm going to cut the other half. Add that to our one dish wonder here. Get it all mixed in. You can see it's starting to fill up the pan. You can see that fat rendering out of the kielbasa. It's all starting to come together now. We're going to go ahead and add some seasonings to this. do our Creole seasoning. I like to do this in layers. This is a personal preference, whether or not you want a lot or a little of this. We like ours a little bit more on the mild side, but if you like it to be more spicy, then go ahead and add a little bit more. All right, it's time for us to add the rice. I'm gonna add about 1.5 cups of rice. This would make about 6 servings, but with all the other good things in there, this makes a whole lot. You're gonna have leftovers for the next couple of days. I like to get it all in there with the meat and the vegetables and get the rice coated in a little bit of the oil as well. The chicken is cooking and the fat is rendering out of the sausage. The celery and the onion and the garlic, they're all starting to come together, and we've added a little bit of that Creole seasoning to get the flavors going. When we use the rice, you pretty much just double the liquid that you're going to use. So since I used 1.5 cups of rice, I'm going to use 3 cups of liquid. This has all been simmering here for a couple minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, just until you can start to see that the outside of the chicken is all cooked and the sausage is starting to kind of, you can see the casing on it starts to tighten up, and then also the vegetables are starting to get soft and the onions are clear. All right, it looks like we're ready for our stock. Like I said, you're gonna do about 3 cups of chicken stock. You could do a mixture of 2 cups of chicken stock and 1 cup of water. It's whatever your personal preference is. I'm gonna go ahead and do about 2 cups of stock. I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. I'm gonna do about 1 cup of water. All right, we've got everyone swimming at the pool party now. Get it all mixed together. We're gonna get that rice all separated so that it can start soaking up all those juices. The last thing we need to do is we need to add a little bit of the tomato sauce. This was a little trick that I had figured out. I don't know if this is how they make jambalaya down in Louisiana, but that's how we do it here in Kansas, and it works pretty darn well. I just cut 2 little slits into my can of tomato sauce. You can add as much or as little as you like of this. I normally don't put the whole 8 ounces in, but most of it. This will give it a nice orange color. And then we're gonna bring this up to a boil. All right, it's come up to a boil. It looks like it's all ready to go. Now we get to turn it down to a simmer. Cover it, and this is when I do the cleanup. It's gonna sit and simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes until the rice has absorbed all of the juice. We're about halfway through our boil, our little simmer. Do a little check, give a little stir. You don't wanna lift the lid too many times because then you let all the heat out. We'll let it go for another 5 to 10 minutes and we'll check it out when it's finished. All right, it looks like it's been about 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and we're getting really close to the rice being completely cooked. Go ahead and give it a good stir, get those juices all mixed up. This is a good time if you'd like to add a little bit more of that Creole seasoning. Once again, if you like it a little bit spicier, add a little bit more. I like it a little bit more spicy though. Time for our last ingredient, and this is what makes the jambalaya really special. Cheese. I discovered that when you add cheese to jambalaya, it makes it extra delicious. So we're just gonna sprinkle as much or as little as you would like. If you don't like cheese on that, that's fine, just leave it out. We like cheese. Now we're just gonna go ahead and stir that all in, get it all incorporated, and we're about ready to eat. Now you could have a side salad with this, or maybe a side of some fresh vegetables. We usually just like to put it all in a big bowl and just eat it like so. When I plan a meal for my family, I try to spend about $12 per meal. This meal falls right without it. 1 chicken breast and the sausage and the rice and all the other ingredients that go along with it. With 4 of us, that comes out to about $3 a meal. But this will give us plenty of leftovers and we'll be able to eat them on the weekend, and then I don't have to worry about cooking on the weekend. And there you have it. There's my original recipe for jambalaya, a weeknight 30-minute meal that you can make for your family.